Hey guys, what's going on? Today, we're diving into something that's both, you know, super exciting and maybe a little bit unnerving. The world of AI jailbreaking and the rise of these open source models. It feels like we're kind of on the edge of this like tech revolution. But with each,
Yeah.
every breakthrough, there's always this shadow side that seems to emerge. It's almost like we're living in a sci-fi movie, right? AI is like taking these huge leaps forward every single day. But as these AI models, become more and more powerful, they're also becoming like targets for all these hackers and tinkerers, who just want to push the limits of what's possible. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that brings us to, I guess, this fascinating and a bit unsettling world of AI jailbreaking. You've probably heard of, people like Elderpuss or AKA Ply the Liberator. It's basically like the Houdini of the AI world, right? He's known for kind of cracking open these supposedly very secure AI models, like OpenAI's deep research model, and then he just like shares his methods with the world. I mean, think about that for a sec. These AI models are like designed with all these safety protocols, right? They're kept under lock and key.
Right.
But people like Ply are like finding ways to get around those safeguards and make these AIs do things that they were never like supposed to do.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing.
I know it's really wild. So for instance, um, Ply actually got deep research, which is like supposed to be super secure, to generate some pretty wild stuff. Like I'm talking PhD level drug synthesis recipes, instructions for illegal activities.
Yeah, things that would.
Things that definitely give you the chills. It really makes you wonder, like if someone with enough technical know-how can just jailbreak these models and make them like generate potentially harmful content.
Yeah.
What does that like really mean for the future of AI safety?
Well, what's really interesting here is that Ply's exploits, they're like just the tip of the iceberg. There's this research paper, Universal and Transferable Adversarial Attacks on Aligned Language Models. And it like digs even deeper, showing that even the most harmless sounding AI models can be manipulated to create all sorts of objectionable content.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me more about this whole adversarial attack thing.
So these researchers, they came up with this really clever technique to craft what they call these adversarial suffixes. Imagine them as these snippets of text, almost like secret codes that can trick the AI into generating a very specific response.
So it's kind of like finding the AI's like weak spot, its Achilles heel, and then like exploiting it.
Precisely. And what's really fascinating is that these adversarial suffixes, they're incredibly effective. The researchers actually managed to make ChatGPT, Bard, Claude, all those big names generate content that they were specifically designed not to generate.
Wait, so even the AIs that like we're interacting with every day
Uh-huh.
could potentially be like manipulated in this way?
It certainly raises some eyebrows.
That's a bit unnerving.
And here's the kicker. These adversarial suffixes, they're not just limited to one model. They trained their attack on a couple smaller open source models, and guess what? It worked on the big commercial models too.
Oh wow, so it's not just about patching up individual AI models. It's about addressing this like fundamental vulnerability that could potentially affect like a whole range of AI systems.
Exactly. It suggests that there's a deeper, more systemic issue at play here. And this brings us to this really crucial question. If we can't reliably prevent these kinds of attacks, how can we make sure that AI remains a force for good and doesn't pose a threat to society?
Yeah, I mean that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? But hold on, we're just getting started. On top of this whole like jailbreaking issue, there's this whole other layer of complexity we need to talk about,
Oh, yeah.
the rise of open source AI models.
The wild west of AI development.
I love that. So open source AI is basically like the DIY movement of the AI world, right?
Right.
Anyone with the right skills and motivation can just jump in and start like building and tweaking these models.
That's the beauty of it. Open source AI, it promotes transparency and collaboration. It allows for this rapid innovation, with developers from all over the world contributing to the advancement of AI.
And I think one of the most striking examples of this whole open source revolution is this project by Hugging Face, where they basically replicated OpenAI's deep research model in just 24 hours and then made it fully open source.
It was incredible, an incredible feat of engineering, and a real testament to the power of the open source community. And unlike deep research, which is, kept tightly controlled, this open source replica is accessible to anyone. You can download it, modify it, use it for whatever you want.
So in a way, the open source community is kind of like leapfrogging the closed source world. They're taking these powerful AI models that are like locked away and making them available to everyone.
That's one way to look at it. And
Yeah.
it's raising some really interesting questions about the future of AI development. Is the closed source approach even sustainable in the long run? Or will open source models eventually become the dominant force in the AI landscape?
It's almost like we're watching this battle for the soul of AI.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
And the stakes are incredibly high because ultimately the question isn't just about who controls AI. It's about how AI is used. And that's a question that affects all of us.
Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about AI jailbreaking, the rise of these open source models, and the potential risks and benefits of both. But there's still so much more to explore, and I'm eager to hear your thoughts on all of this. We'll be right back to continue our conversation after a quick break.
It's like we're at this crossroads, right, with AI. On the one hand, we have this incredible technology, like it has the potential to solve some of the world's biggest challenges. But on the other hand,
Right.
there's this very real possibility of misuse, of unintended consequences that could like totally spiral out of control.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like things are moving so fast that it's hard to even like grab it all. So maybe let's shift gears a little and talk about like potential solutions.
Well, there's no like magic bullet, but there are several promising approaches that researchers are exploring. One technique that's gaining a lot of traction is called adversarial training. Essentially, what you do is you expose the AI model to a wide range of these adversarial attacks during its training process.
So it's like giving the AI like a boot camp, right? You're toughening it up so it can recognize these malicious prompts and resist them.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. By repeatedly exposing the model to these attacks, it learns to become more robust and less susceptible to manipulation. It's kind of like building up an immunity to a virus.
That makes sense. But how do you even come up with all these different adversarial attacks? It seems like this endless game of cat and mouse.
It can feel that way, but researchers are developing some really clever ways to automate the process of generating these adversarial examples. And as AI systems get more sophisticated, so do the techniques for testing their vulnerabilities.
Like an arms race, but instead of weapons, we're building better shields and training AI to defend itself.
Precisely. But remember, adversary training is just one piece of the puzzle. We need a multi-pronged approach, addressing this issue from all angles. That means focusing on developing more comprehensive safety protocols, ethical frameworks, even regulatory measures.
So it's not just about the tech itself. We need to be thinking about the social, ethical, and legal implications of AI.
Absolutely. And a crucial part of that conversation involves education and awareness building.
You mean like educating developers, policymakers, and just the general public about the potential risks and benefits of AI?
Exactly. The more people understand about AI, the better equipped they'll be to make informed decisions and advocate for responsible AI development and use. We need to foster this culture of responsible AI development and use, where everyone involved, from the creators to the end users, understands the implications of this technology.
It's like that saying, with great power comes great responsibility. We need to make sure that we're using this technology wisely and not just like blindly rushing ahead without considering the consequences. Speaking of consequences, are there like any examples of AI systems, even those designed with good intentions, that have had like unintended negative impacts?
Oh, absolutely. Imagine an AI system that's designed to optimize traffic flow in a city, right? It might inadvertently prioritize certain neighborhoods over others, leading to inequalities in access to transportation or even emergency services. Or take an AI hiring tool that, based on its training data, ends up perpetuating existing biases against certain demographic groups.
Wow, those are some sobering examples. It really highlights the need for careful consideration and ongoing monitoring of AI systems, even those that are designed with the best intentions. But let's not get too like doom and gloom here. We're having this conversation, right? We're recognizing the potential risks and actively searching for solutions. There's a lot of research and effort being poured into AI safety and alignment. And that gives me, some hope.
I agree. It's encouraging to see so much attention being paid to these issues. It shows that we're not just like passively accepting the risks, but actively trying to shape the future of AI in a positive direction.
Okay, I'm feeling a bit more optimistic now. But before we wrap things up, I have one more question that's been kind of bugging me.
while there are certainly risks associated with these trends, there's also the potential for them to contribute to a more democratic and accessible AI landscape.
More democratic. How so?
Well, think about it. Open source development allows anyone to contribute to the advancement of AI, not just a select few companies or institutions.
So it's like democratizing access to the tools and the knowledge that are needed to create and shape AI.
Exactly. And that could lead to a more diverse range of perspectives and applications for AI, potentially benefiting a wider swath of society. Instead of AI being controlled by this small group of elites, it could become a more collaborative and community-driven endeavor.
That's a really compelling argument. So instead of viewing open source AI solely as a threat, we should also recognize its potential to empower individuals and communities and to drive innovation in a more inclusive and equitable way.
Precisely. And let's not forget about the benefits of transparency. With open source models, the code is readily available for anyone to inspect and scrutinize. This means that potential biases or vulnerabilities can be more easily identified and addressed.
It's like having this built-in system of checks and balances where the open source community can hold developers accountable for creating responsible and ethical AI.
Exactly. And this increased transparency could also help build trust in AI systems, which is essential for their widespread adoption and acceptance.
That makes a lot of sense. So while there are certainly risks associated with AI jailbreaking and open source development, there's also the potential for these trends to contribute to a more open, equitable, and trustworthy AI ecosystem. It's a complex and evolving landscape, and it's important to approach it with both caution and a sense of possibility.
I couldn't agree more. And remember, AI is still a relatively young technology. We're still learning about its capabilities and limitations. We have an opportunity to shape this technology in a way that aligns with our values and aspirations. It won't be easy, but it's a challenge worth embracing.
Okay, I'm feeling a lot more energized after that conversation. It's a reminder that we're not just like passive observers in this technological revolution. We have a voice and a responsibility to shape the future of AI. But let's take a moment to process all of this and then dive into what this all means for you, our listener, and what steps you can take to navigate this rapidly evolving landscape. All right, so we've talked about the risks and the potential upsides of AI jailbreaking and open source development, and we even touched on some possible solutions. But I think now it's time to like bring it all home. What does this all mean for you, our listener, who's out there navigating this crazy, rapidly evolving world of AI?
About the AI systems that you encounter in your daily life. Like, where did the training data come from? What are the potential biases that are baked into the algorithms?
So be a healthy skeptic, right? Don't just blindly accept what AI tells you. Dig a little deeper. Ask those tough questions.
Right. And if you see something that seems, off, something that feels, biased or unfair or potentially harmful, don't stay silent. Like, speak up, contact the developers, raise awareness on social media, join an advocacy group.
So we have a responsibility to not just be like informed consumers of AI, but also like active participants in shaping its development and use.
Absolutely. And remember, you're not alone in this. There are countless individuals and organizations that are working to ensure that AI is used ethically and responsibly. Find your tribe, connect with others who share your concerns and your vision for a better future with AI.
It's like that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
I love that. And when it comes to AI, we need to go both fast and far. We need to act quickly to address the immediate risks, but we also need to think long term, laying the groundwork for a future where AI benefits all of humanity.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired. But before we sign off, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. We've talked a lot about the potential risks of AI, but it's important to remember that AI is a tool, and like any tool, it could be used for good or for bad.
It all comes down to the choices we make, the intentions we bring to the table, and the values we prioritize.
So let's choose wisely. Let's use this incredible technology to create a world that's more just, more equitable, and more sustainable for all.
That's a future worth fighting for.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of AI. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep pushing for a better tomorrow.
And remember, the future is not predetermined. It's being shaped right now by the choices we make every single day.